Delighted to see many of you present today, and I would like to congratulate, first of all, the African Union Commission for convening this landmark event, and the government of Zimbabwe, our gracious host, for being elected as the chair of the Bureau of the Conference and for their warm hospitality. As the world's first regional legally binding instrument for the protection of and assistance to IDPs, the Kampala Convention represents a major step forward in enhancing the human rights of internally displaced persons. This is very obvious, but I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate all the states that have taken the important steps of signing and ratifying or acceding to the Convention, and encourage the other countries in the region to join them. Frankly, ladies and gentlemen, I come from a region where we don't have such a convention, and I have to say that you are a step ahead of the rest of the world, so congratulations for that. This is my maiden speech to this August Assembly since I was appointed as the new UN Special Rapporteur on the Human Rights of IDPs, in which I commenced last November 2017. My mandate itself has been engaged from the very outset in supporting the Kampala Convention. My predecessor, whom you may know, Dr. Chaloka Beyani, made it his priority to support the promotion of the signature and ratification of the Kampala Convention by AU member states, and to assist your efforts in putting in place the necessary frameworks and measures to ensure its implementation at the national level. In continuation with that excellent collaboration and achievements by the previous mandate holder, I stand ready to support all of you in your efforts towards improved protection of the human rights of IDPs in your respective countries and in the continent. As we know, the Kampala Convention, which incorporates the guiding principles on internal displacement produced by the United Nations, is an innovative agreement in many respects in its application to Africa. Among other things, it addresses all causes of displacement, including armed conflict, disasters, climate change, and development projects. These were issues that had been threshed out, discussed, and debated during the AU drafting process and finalized with its adoption. Currently, in moving towards effective implementation of the Convention, it will be important to be faithful to its holistic approach and address all possible causes of internal displacement in a comprehensive manner. The Convention also places the emphasis on the obligations of states parties and their primary responsibility to prevent and respond to internal displacement. At the same time, the Convention is very unique in that it puts a strong focus on partnerships between African Union member states, the African Union Commission, regional mechanisms, international organizations, and civil society in support of improved protection and assistance for IDPs. These essential aspects reflects the collaborative spirit in which the Convention was drafted, and it is a critical element which must be at the core of its implementation. I look forward to enhancing my collaboration with all the stakeholders present here today in order to achieve the goals of the Convention. I particularly welcome the Convention's emphasis on durable solutions for IDPs, as well as the importance it attaches to ensuring the participation of IDPs and communities affected by displacement in all decision-making processes. These two issues are actually central to the work of my mandate and should be prioritized in efforts to fully implement the Convention. Participation of IDPs and communities is, for the mandate, essential in guaranteeing that any interventions are directly relevant and sustainable for the IDPs and communities themselves. Such approach would likewise contribute to enabling conditions that would facilitate the achievement of durable solutions. By ratifying the Kampala Convention, you have set an important example for all other African states in showing your political will to fulfill your obligations towards IDPs. Your active participation in this conference speaks to your equally strong commitment to make concrete progress on implementing the Convention. This requires, first of all, adopting a solid enabling policy and framework that should be accompanied by the establishment of adequate structures of governance with the necessary financial resources and expertise, as well as effective institutional arrangements and coordination at national level. In addition to domesticating the Kampala Convention, I highly encourage the states parties to adopt concrete measures to operationalize its provisions and ensure that it translates into real gains for IDPs. My mandate places a high priority on the actual implementation of the Kampala Convention. In this regard, I am very encouraged by those states parties that have taken such steps, and that a good number of states parties have put in structures and programs that seriously take into consideration their obligations under the Kampala Convention. I trust that this conference will serve as a constructive framework and platform for the exchange of expertise and experiences around challenges, good practices, and lessons learned in the implementation of the objectives of the Convention, and as a mechanism for strengthening cooperation and solidarity among states parties to prevent and address internal displacement. As I said, and I would like to re-emphasize, I stand ready to support the future work of the conference as well as the adoption and implementation of your plan of action. As a Special Rapporteur of IDPs, of the human rights of IDPs, I place my mandate to be of support to the members of the African Union in the several ways provided to me by the UN resolution that established my mandate. Notably, this would be through country visits and follow-up missions, where I am committed to constructively engage with authorities and offer technical advice on improving responses to specific needs of IDPs, and through development of normative, policy and regulatory frameworks on internal displacement. In addition, my mandate is also involved in the organization of training and other capacity building activities, such as the annual Sanremo course on internal displacement, which had been participated by representatives of a good number of countries around the table. His Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, mentioned the importance of data gathering. I applaud this approach because we need more evidence-based data for the protection of. At this point in time, I also would like to mention the existence of the joint interagency IDP policy structure, profiling structure, which is based in Geneva, and again, of which a few of your countries have availed of. Let me conclude by once again commending the lead role of the African Union and its member states in creating such a groundbreaking instrument on IDPs, which now serves as a model for other regions across the globe. I come from the Asian continent, and we have many problems of internal displacement there as well. I would like to be placed in your situation where we would also have our own regional instrument. But then here you can say that Africa leads the way. So moreover, with the 20th anniversary of the guiding principles on internal displacement next year in 2018, I actually look forward to the Kampala Convention and your plan of action to be shining examples to the world. Indeed, I hope that this conference will reinvigorate the momentum reached with the adoption and entry into force of the Kampala Convention, and I thank partners who have been contributing to this, and I hope that this conference will galvanize efforts to ensure that the Convention is translated in practice as a rule, as a policy, and in programmatic operationalization. I look forward to your discussions, and I thank you all very much for your attention. Thank you.
Let me once again thank Madame Jimenez for that statement. we look forward to support, not just in terms of the general support, but in terms of capacity building for our member states as we'll be beginning to implement the treaty at national levels. And we hope that the continued support in terms of that you give to member states will also increase in this regard, particularly with regard to forming the implementation plan of action for member states at that level. I would want to call upon His Lordship, Justice Sylvian Ore.
Okay. Last night, I mean the night from Monday to Tuesday, we could feel an earthquake in this building for a short time, but this short time was long enough for Mr. Cosmas Chanda, the UN representative,